You walk into someone's home and it's spotless. The kitchen counter is clear, the pillows are perfectly placed. There's not a single random pile of stuff anywhere. And your first instinct is to think, wow, this person has their life together. But here's the thing, it's not really about the house. It's never just about the house. The way people relate to their living space reveals something deep about how their brain works, how they handle stress, and what they believe about themselves. Psychologists have been studying this for decades, and what they've found about people who consistently keep their spaces clean is genuinely fascinating and a little surprising. Let's start at the beginning. Most people who are obsessively tidy didn't just wake up that way one day. It usually starts in childhood. Maybe they grew up in a chaotic home, a parent who was unpredictable, finances that were always shaky, a household where things felt out of control. When the outside world feels unstable, human beings instinctively look for something they can control. And for a lot of kids, the one thing they could manage was their bedroom, their little corner of the world. Psychologists call this compensatory control. When we feel powerless in one area of life, we assert control in another. The tidy bedroom becomes a safe island in the middle of chaos, and the brain remembers that. It learns order equals safety. Decades later, that kid grows up and still gets a very specific kind of calm when everything is in its place. The world outside might be messy and unpredictable, but at least the kitchen is spotless. But here's where it gets interesting. It's not just about childhood. Research out of Princeton University found something remarkable. A cluttered environment literally overloads your visual cortex. Your eyes keep bouncing between competing stimuli. The pile of mail, the unwashed mug, the jacket draped over the chair. Each of these is competing for your brain's attention, even when you're not consciously looking at them. This creates a kind of background stress your body is carrying all the time. People who clean are essentially managing that neurological load. They're not just cleaning a surface, they're quieting their own nervous system. There's also a fascinating connection to anxiety. Studies show that people who score higher on anxiety traits are significantly more likely to clean as a coping mechanism. When anxious thoughts start spiraling about work, relationships, the future, cleaning gives the brain a task that's concrete, completable, and immediately satisfying. You can't control whether your boss is going to like your presentation, but you can control whether the bathroom is clean. And that sense of completion? It releases dopamine, the same feel-good chemical your brain gets from finishing any goal. Cleaning becomes a small, repeatable hit of, I did something, I made progress, I'm okay. Now, not all clean house people are anxious. Some of them are wired completely differently. There's a well-studied personality trait called conscientiousness, and people who score high on it tend to be naturally organized, detail-oriented, and forward-planning. They clean not because they're stressed, but because disorder genuinely bothers them at a functional level. Their brain finds it inefficient. They know exactly where everything is. They don't waste 10 minutes looking for their keys. For them, cleanliness is just a system that works. But here's what almost nobody talks about. What happens to your mind after you clean? There's a reason people often say they think better in a tidy space. That's not just a feeling. A study published in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that people who described their homes as cluttered were more fatigued and had higher levels of the stress hormone cortisol throughout the day. People who described their homes as restful and organized? Lower stress, better focus, more follow-through on tasks. The clean space isn't just a reflection of a calm mind, it's actually creating one. And this brings up one of the most counterintuitive findings in all of this research. Clean people are often more creative, not less. There's a popular myth that messy desks mean creative minds. And yes, some studies show that disorder can trigger unconventional thinking in the short term. But sustained creativity, the kind that actually produces results, needs mental resources, it needs focus, and a cluttered environment drains those resources quietly and constantly. The people who can maintain a clean space free up cognitive energy that gets redirected toward actually thinking and creating. Now let's be honest about something, because there is a version of this that goes too far. For some people, the need to keep things clean crosses into something psychologists call maladaptive perfectionism. The bar is never quite met. No matter how clean the house is, the anxiety doesn't fully go away, so they clean again. And again. This is different from healthy tidiness. This is cleaning as avoidance. Instead of sitting with an uncomfortable feeling, or having a hard conversation, or working on the thing they're scared to work on, they straighten a drawer. The house becomes a way of running from the inside by managing the outside. The question that actually separates healthy, clean people from anxious ones is simple. What happens when the mess comes back? Because mess always comes back. Life is inherently untidy. Kids, guests, a long week, a sick day. Entropy wins eventually. A psychologically healthy, clean person sees the mess, feels the pull to tidy it, and either does it without drama or lets it sit for a bit without feeling like their world is ending. An anxiety-driven clean person feels something closer to dread when things get messy. The disorder doesn't just bother them aesthetically, it genuinely unsettles them. Here's the quiet truth underneath all of this. Keeping your space clean is almost never really about cleanliness. It's about how safe you feel in your own life. It's about control, identity, and the story you're telling yourself about who you are. For some people, a clean home says I have it together. For others, it says I am in control when nothing else is. For others still, it's just how their brain prefers to operate. The people who never have to think about cleaning are arguably the most psychologically settled of all. It's just what they do, the same way they brush their teeth. No drama, no dopamine hit, no identity wrapped up in it. Just a habit that runs quietly in the background. But the rest of us? We're all somewhere on that spectrum, using our spaces to negotiate with the messiness inside us. Which is why the next time you walk into someone's home, you're not just seeing how they live. You're seeing how their mind works. If this made you think differently about yourself, or about someone you know, go ahead and hit subscribe.